Hey guys, good evening. This is Dr. Anand here, and today I'm here to talk about one of the most important data set what I recently came across from Kaggle. And as you can see on the screen, this particular data set has been updated only 22 days ago, and it is very much related to the laptop price and specification pertaining to the laptop. So few introspections about this data set. It has 12 different columns containing multiple fields, and let me walk you through the main fields. So the column items includes model specifications, price, rating, generation, core, RAM, SSD, display, graphics, OS, and warranty. So how many total records are found in this particular data set? It is the records pertaining to 920 laptops, especially from the customer perspective. And the person who has posted this particular data set has already given us few important tips on how this data set can be further used for analysis purpose. So the very first one includes the exploratory data analysis, followed by feature engineering practice, then price prediction using regression, classification task, NLP task, and of course the recommendation system. But as you know that I belong to the perspective or specialization of HR and organizational behavior, I would like to connect this particular data set to HR. And I'm pretty sure that you could be wondering how this data set can be connected to HR. So this laptop price and specification data set, though it is not directly related to the HR context, but can be very much powerfully used for HR analytics, especially when dealing with certain human resource management functions which might involve asset allocation or workforce planning, workforce budgeting, and performance enhancement in the organization. So what could be the different types of HR related functions where this data set can be applied? So as I told you before, although the data set is about laptop specifications, HR departments play a very significant role in the tech resource allocation and employee workforce planning. The reason is that every employee working in organization are provided with a personal desktop or a laptop to carry the routine functions. So that becomes a very primary role. So the HR can use this particular data set in multiple perspectives. So to show you the perspective, let me show you a very simple mind mapping uses this particular application using the mind map. So mind map is very much freely available. So I'm posting the same content here, that is laptop data from Kaggle, HR perspective. So I'm inserting a child node to showcase what could be the multiple HR use case or HR functions. Let me post few subchild nodes and then explain the same to you. So first let's talk about IT asset management. So how an IT asset management is further related to HR function? So the laptop type should match with the job roles, right? Laptop types matching with specific job roles. Just imagine an organization which has three important departments. One is the accounting department, the second one is a designing department, and the third one is ERP department. So ERP department would need a better computer or a better laptop which has a very better RAM facility. The designing department will have a lot of expert designers and they would be giving importance to GPU, which is more into the graphics usage. The accounts department might need a laptop with a huge data storing capacity, but at the same time, they might not be in need of laptop which supports a very good graphical system. So the laptop which has been allocated to different department, to different employees, is not going to be the same type. It is going to be different. So from the HR perspective, the very first important factor is asset management, which is nothing but how the laptop has been distributed within the organization based on different types of job roles. Let's look into the second one, employee onboarding. So what exactly do you mean by this particular term, which is called employee onboarding? When employees are joining an organization for the very first time, before the training and development program or before the induction program and orientation program, the fresh employees are given with a kit, employee kit or a new joinee kit. So this kit should also include a laptop, right? So let me put it in this way: assigning laptops to freshers based on their job roles, right? And most important one, maybe for an employee who's joining an entry level job, the organization may provide a simple laptop. So when I'm talking about a simple laptop, it also includes the brand. So organizations usually do not spend a huge amount of money for providing a costly laptop for a new employee who's just onboarded into the organization, which might never happen very commonly. Maybe the top level management could enjoy laptops which are from better brands. What could be the very third function here? Workforce productivity. This is a very important factor, workforce productivity, because it affects the revenue system of any organization. So how do we look into this particular HR function, that is workforce productivity? Analyzing if high performing teams are equipped with better laptops, right? Analyzing if high performing teams are equipped with better laptops, which means the teams which are performing better or contributing to the organization's revenue in a better way, let's check if they are having better laptops. So here it talks about the infrastructural facilities. So this also can be one. So what could be the other types of HR functions which we can take into consideration? Next, it could be procurement planning. So as you know, organizations face a lot of attritions, a lot of retentions also would be done. So the count of employees is not going to be the same throughout the year or across the year. There's going to be a lot of changes. So every year, the HR department should estimate a proper budget allocation, especially for providing laptops for the newly created post, right? So budget planning, the same information has to be communicated to the finance department. Sometimes a very new job role may be created in the organization. So based on the new job role, a better or a specific laptop has to be provided. Just imagine an organization never had a personal advertising department, but now it has its inclusive advertisement and graphic designing department. So if that expansion is going to be possible, then the HR department plays a very major role in procurement planning. Maybe even from the educational institution's perspective, if a visual communication department is going to be introduced, and few courses if it is going to be facilitated, then a proper budget planning has to happen, and that has to be communicated from the HR department. What is the next important function here? That is attrition and replacement planning. So asset allocation should always be planned based on resignations, employee layoff, employee promotion, and the most important one, internal mobility. Maybe if a project team is performing extremely good, and if they have to perform more, and if they have to take some special task, obviously the organization has to provide them with certain expected infrastructural facilities, which might also include a laptop. So resignations, employee layoff where employees are sent out by the organization, employee promotion, internal mobility. So these are all related to attrition and replacement planning, which is of course one of the core functions of the human resource department. So apart from this, there could be several other HR functions which can be taken into considerations, where this data set related to laptop and price specification can match, but I am taking into consideration only these 5 factors. So the very first factor what I'm going to take into consideration is asset management, and the second important one is going to be employee onboarding. The third important one is going to be workforce productivity. The fourth important one is going to be procurement planning. The fifth important one is going to be attrition and replacement planning, right? So apart from this, it is totally left up to your choice how you would like to squeeze your brain and come out with multiple HR functions and other key dimensions. So let me also tell you how HR insights can be drawn using this particular data set, right? So let me put this presentation from a research perspective. So whenever a data scientist is getting some data, he has to think over a lot of key questions. So a lot of key questions would give an opportunity for that person to come out with a lot of assumptions, and all these assumptions could pave way for looking into the data into a very different perspective. So what are all the key questions related to the HR perspective? So let us jot down the questions one by one so that we are able to get a better answer here. So the very first question what I am going to mention here is, are high-ended laptops allocated only to employees who perform well, right? So I'm developing one question, a very different question. are high-ended laptops allocated only to employees who are performing well. So can you tell me to which particular HR function this particular question statement is related to? Performance appraisal. And employee rewards system, right? So that is how this particular question is related to the HR function. Second question. Should the organization spend a certain budget every year by providing laptops to its new joinees? Joiners or joinees, however. Should the organization spend a certain budget every year by providing laptops to its new joiners? So, before talking about the HR function, let me tell you, a lot of youngsters, when they walk through the job description, which has been posted by multiple companies, they do look with a wide eye. What are all the different types of infrastructural facilities which is getting reflected in the job description, right? So it includes financial and non-financial. So talking about non-financial, maybe it includes a cab facility or a paying guest facility, or some movie tickets, food coupons. Sometimes it also includes a laptop which has to be provided, right? So this particular one is related to attractive JD, which is nothing but a job description. Right? So this is how I am looking into the HR function. What is the third important function? The very last one, what I'm going to take into consideration is brands. Are all the employees in the organization provided with the same laptop brand? So probably every organization has an hierarchy, and looking very close into this hierarchy, it has the top level, middle level and the lower level. I'm pretty sure that not all the employees working in the organization are provided with the same brand, right? Maybe employees working in the top level executives are provided with better brands which are quite costlier, right? Because such top level executives might go for a lot of business meetings, conferences, they would be meeting a lot of people, they would be putting up a lot of presentations, they would be attending a lot of conclaves for the purpose of business, for the purpose of networking, or for the purpose of growing the business. So if that is going to be the case, better brands or expensive brands will always be a source of prestige for the organization, right? I'm pretty sure that this particular HR perspective can be connected to multiple factors, but one factor is brand image. So likewise, this data which I came across in Kaggle, very much related to the employee, which is not related to the employee, has been relooked into the HR perspective. So further, I would be telling you how do we make use of this data set for performing different HR analytics based functions and activities. So that I would be showcasing in the very next video. Thank you.